here we go. Who knows why these things happen? Beats me. So we'll start over fresh. So as if it never happened. Eric, thank you so much for joining. I've wanted to have you on as a guest for a while. Eric is a member of the CrossFit Linchpin community. He's very active in our private Facebook group. And one of the coolest things that he does in there, he just volunteers his services to coach and help improve people's technique online through video, photo, drawing on photos. It's phenomenal. And he does it just because he loves to do it. So virtual coaching, I mean, talk about a time that's probably been happening more than ever on the planet. So that's why I wanted to pick your brain. But before we start that, give us a little bit about yourself. When did you get into CrossFit? What do you do for a living? And what's going on with that accent?
Well, that's the Long Island, New York accent, which is pretty identifiable anywhere I go. So I'm glad you picked up on it. But before, I just got done with the 800-meter repeats. And for everyone could appreciate this, the meme that I always post in the group, I actually printed it out for today's material.
100%. How did they go?
They went well. They weren't a full send. You know, I left a little gas in the tank. My first round was my warm-up because I had a little bit of limited time. And then the last two ended up speeding them up. So very happy, though, overall.
They're still looming over my head to do late. It's a nice day up here just outside Seattle. It's a beautiful fall day, so I'm happy that it's not raining. But 800-meter repeats. Do you mind running, or do you do them out of discipline because you know they're beneficial?
I don't mind running. I've never been a long distance runner, but I definitely enjoy the shorter sprints. 400, 800s, all those things tend to be a bit my jam, so to speak.
Okay. So what do you do for a living these days?
So I'm currently a Deputy United States Marshal. I started my federal law enforcement career in 2002. 2008 was my first experience with CrossFit at the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center when they gave us these big balls with laces like a football and making us throw them at a target on the wall. And like, what is this devil's magic that you are making us do, and then run after it? And they said, well, welcome to CrossFit. This is what we do here. And from what I understand, just recently before that, they had held an L1 at the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center.
I remember back when that stuff was happening. I don't think I went to those particular ones. I was on the road doing seminars at that time, but I don't think I went to those. But for anyone who's uninitiated, you know, when you and I spoke beforehand, who potentially doesn't know what a U.S. Marshal did, you said the best analogy is just picture what Tommy Lee Jones does in The Fugitive, and that's what every day at work is like.
Yes, every day from the time I wake up to go to sleep. Yeah, I mean, fugitives is our primary mission and stuff. I work on the different side of the house. I work threats and intelligence, working threats against the judiciary and other government officials and stuff. So, yeah, and that's, quite not as exciting as it is in the shows and the movies, but I still absolutely love it.
Oh, yeah, I mean, well, hey, I mean, just like my past, you know, that Navy SEALs movie with Charlie Sheen, that's what every day was like, exactly the same. I wasn't going to chat about this, but our conversation right now sparked it in my head. With the military or government organizations, whatever it happens to be, and, you know, you guys were doing CrossFit, which is crazy, and you had those seminars at the training center. Sometimes everyone's doing CrossFit, but they can't call it CrossFit. You've got the old school people that think it's the work of the devil and everyone's going to get injured right away and this looks weird and doesn't work, and some people love it, and the leadership's on board or the leadership's not on board. So it sounds like, at least back in 2008, that the leadership was on board. Does that continue to this day, or what's the current atmosphere?
Oh, it's totally involved. If you go to the training center now, it is basically a huge CrossFit box in the main gym area. You go outside, it's all rigs with sleds. The functional fitness model, if people, even if they don't want to call it CrossFit, is being adopted widely by, I would say, a good majority of the law enforcement agencies nationwide, because it's functional. It's what we do. It's,
It works.
yeah, I mean, the old school days of going out just with a 5-mile run in formation, it's just not, I don't think it's very beneficial for what we have
Right.
to do.
Nope. I spent a lot of my years doing just that. Long distance running, and then your fitness was 100% dictated by your bench press. That was it. If you had a 300-pound bench press, you were an animal, and if not, that's what you were chasing. And as soon as the bench press touched 300, you were the pinnacle of fitness, as far as everybody used to think. So it's just kind of funny how much I didn't know back then, and how
Yeah,
much
right.
I wasn't training optimally, to say the least. To actually, and somebody like yourself in a first responder position, talk about somebody that has the potential to actually have their fitness be a very, very big deal if the situation should arise. So it warms my heart to hear that uh, that kind of training is taking place. So you mentioned that you were a head coach for NYPD CrossFit, and when did you start doing that? And then you said that they kind of had a hiccup in the pandemic.
Yeah, so I'm still one of their head coaches. We have two head coaches, which split up the duties and the roles there. During the pandemic, we lost our space, so now we've gone all to the virtual realm, just like a lot of people. So spread out throughout, and it's the official gym, and well, it was a gym, but official team of the NYPD. And I just happen, even though I'm not NYPD, I'm one of their coaches that provide nutrition, general coaching, and stuff there. And 2018, I first started there.
Okay.
I was in L1. Last year, I went and got my L2. Last year, I got my precision nutrition L1, and I have a whole host of other
I was going to
CrossFit.
say, you've got a list of credentials and courses that you have attended. That's for sure.
Yeah. So hopefully one day L3. I'm still
Yeah.
slowly studying, so to speak. So, I owe a lot of credit to CrossFit Seize the Day, which Jeff Blasco, the head coach from there, and the owner, has helped me tremendously. And then I'm also one of Jason Ackerman's Best Hour of Their Days coaching group, tremendously. And then honestly, just watching videos of you, James Hobart, E.C. Sinkowski, Austin Ameliolo. I mean, all of the old school folks, that I just go on YouTube on Sundays and just geek out on all the old school videos of L1s, L2s, and all the old CrossFit videos.
There's some good folks there for sure. Some good times. Out of curiosity, is there a healthy rivalry or whatnot between, so you're not in the NYPD, you get this U.S. Marshal showing up to the other cops. I know, like, there can be some police and firefighter rivalry that occurs every now and then. Is there some different department, friendly ribbing and things like that occur, or is it just one big happy family?
No, it's pretty much, I mean, New York is it's sort of unique as far as other places. We're very tight-knit brothers and sisters. So there
Okay.
might be some little playful banter, so to speak,
Right.
but it's all in good fun. And even the same thing with FDNY has their own team, so to speak, and it's still healthy fun back and forth between us. We're all trying to do the same thing, even different capacities. You know what I mean?
For sure, for sure. So let's say, getting to the subject that I was so fascinated, people are watching this, they've got athletes in their stable, or maybe they're looking to expand their skill set and be able to coach people from afar. How long have you been doing this? And just kind of feel free to walk me through, what does the process actually look like if somebody wants you to improve how they move and you're not in the same geographical location? How does that actually happen?
So actually, me marking up the pictures and doing the side-by-side comparisons, I'll get into that in a minute, started back with for NYPD CrossFit's Instagram page, with the photos and videos we were taking that we were posting to our Instagram site. I was actually taking those and marking them up and sending them to the athletes
Okay.
as general feedback after class as well. This way they could take a little bit from the class, because a lot of times we'd have classes and they wouldn't be able to get back to the box, then would be training on their own somewhere else. So at least they would have some standing feedback to work on going forward, with a picture and some comments on what they could improve on and what I'd like to see. So from that, and then we went to all remote, and then athletes would send pictures and videos, and then I would, take a look, critique, always, looking for, obviously, safety first. Is the move safe? And then from going there, taking the other parts of the movement and breaking it down to see where there could be improvement. Also, really focusing on what I like, because nobody wants to hear all the negative. So a positive in between with some constructive feedback.
And if somebody, let's take a movement like an air squat or a front squat or something like that, just as an example. If somebody's doing that in real life, it's potentially a little bit easier, right? Because you can walk around the athlete
Right.
360 degrees. If you don't like where you are or the lighting, it's simple. The athlete just keeps squatting. You move where you are. You take a knee. You look at something else. Hey, oh, stop right there. Check that out. Lift your chest a little bit. Oh, you can't do that. You can get your hands on them. None of those things you can do remotely, either without a lot of back and forth. I don't like that video you sent. Send me another video. So
Yeah.
what has been the best practices that you've established to actually make coaching from a distance effective?
Well, I need different angles. I need a side angle, and that's because obviously I need to see the back. I need to make sure that the back and all of the lifts are safe. I need to see a front angle, making sure the knees are tracking over toes and the other things that we like to see. And say, for instance, the deadlift, that the chest is up, the hands are in the proper position. But I think one of the most important things that I need to see in a lift is the feet, because I really subscribe to the Bergner methodology of almost all lifts being missed because of the feet. And I see a lot of videos where asking for feedback in the group, and athletes that send me from Nypd CrossFit, where I can't see the feet. And it is just so important that I need to see, where is your weight on your feet? When are your, extension and all that other stuff, and how it plays into it. All starts with the feet.
Now, does it matter if it's still photo and start and finish position? Would you prefer videos? Is there a certain number of reps that's ideal? Or, what is it that you would ask from an athlete to set you up for the most success to help them out?
Well, obviously a few reps I would like. I generally, I would think that somewhere into the light to moderate weight, I think usually works best. General PR videos, we're lifting, if you've got a 500, pound deadlift, there is a good chance there might be some loss of the lumbar or your back in those types of lifts. So I generally like to see like a light to moderate load when working with. I tend to too light, the bar seems to fly on its own, as opposed to other ways. Just like, sometimes athletes have issues with, not getting into right positions with a PVC pipe, just because it doesn't weigh enough. But, those are the most important things, the angles of them, the lighting, so I can see, and seeing the feet.
Have you developed, popped in my mind right now, like a little cheat sheet almost that you text or email to athletes, like, hey, I'd love to help you out. I'd like to see a video about this long, from this angle, this many reps, et cetera, et cetera. Have you created that list to send to people, or do you just go off of whatever in the heck comes your way?
Well, generally, a lot of times the athletes, when they post in the various groups or whatever it is in Linchpin, or if it's NYPD CrossFit athletes sending me a video, it's generally, hey, here's my video, and what can you tell me from this video? And then often I will reply back, hey, for the future, if you could do X, Y, and Z. And I have those things that I listed saved in a notes section of my phone. And this way I'm not typing it out each time.
Perfect. And any lessons learned, again, if there's people out there that are very eager to implement this, is it fine just to use on your phone? Have you tried doing it over like Zoom or FaceTime, or is it always a recorded video? What's the pearls that you've learned that, you wish you knew when you first started this?
I started using the different apps that are out there that they offer, and they were a little bit pricey, and I just didn't find they function as well as just, sometimes if I have the actual video where I can save it to my phone, I can actually freeze frame it and go step by step. If it's just a video in the group, then I've got to do the old school and just screenshot as the athlete moves and find out where best it is. And from there, and you've seen the side-by-side videos, and it's usually of Julie Fouché or James Hobart, which I'm using as examples because obviously they are in the CrossFit library for all the movements. So
wonderful movers. They are wonderful movers.
So I've got I would say almost all of those videos links saved in my phone as well. And that's someone's asked for, which I think are the most common movements people ask me to critique are the cleans and the snatches. And
Mm-hmm.
so, I generally go there, find out, where I would like to see their improvement. I like to only, often people get into overload. If you see some of the comments, sometimes there'll be like a 7-hour paragraph on what they need to work on. And it's like, I like to give you one, maybe two nuggets at the most.
Yep.
Let you digest that, then come back. I can say that is good, the same, better or worse. And then if it's better, then we can move on to something else from there to help and improve.
And I think it's useful for people to hear that human beings are interesting creatures, and there'll always be something else. And no one gets better when you throw 15 things at them. You just overload their brain, then nothing gets better. It's better to pick, even if you identify 3 things, it's tough to fix 3 things at once as the actual individual moving. So you got to prioritize that, do a little triage. Hey, let's just focus on this one thing. And when that's no longer an issue, we'll work on the next thing. And then, spoiler alert, 10 years later, we'll still be working on something. There is no perfection. I remember talking to Chad Vaughn, who is a phenomenally accomplished Olympic lifter on the world level. And I was asking him, even though his entire life is dedicated to the 2 lifts, the clean and jerk and the snatch. And I was like, man, even after you nail like a PR, do you go back and watch and you're like, that was great, got nothing? He was like, oh no. He's like, it's not a single lift I do that afterwards there's not something to work on. And this is somebody that every waking moment of their life is only dedicated to moving better. Not regular human beings that have jobs and kids, and when you get time, you go to the garage and you work on it. The amount of pressure regular people put on themselves to move perfectly is crazy. And again, spoiler alert, you never will. We want you moving safely. We want you moving well. And then, of course, we're always going to be trying to improve. But just realize that journey, there's never a final step in that journey. It just, it keeps going and going and going.
Yeah, to this day, you hear about games athletes working on their air squat. And that's one thing I really wish I would see so much more in the group, is everyone wants critiques on their snatches and their cleans and all of the real, how do I get dubs and
the flashy stuff.
All this wonderful stuff. It just warms my heart when someone just posts an air squat and say, hey, coach, take a look at this. What do you think? Because whenever I see someone posting a video of like an overhead squat or front squat or any of these squat variations, I really just, hey, you know what? Let's skip all that. Send me your air squat. Let's work on that first, because that is home base for all of the squat movements. And I'm a huge fan of squat therapy, squat holds, pause squats. All of the things are so, so valuable. And I really wish I would see a lot more of those requests. I actually, at Nypd CrossFit, I used to hold squat clinics where we just solely focus on the air squat. So important.
The foundation of the building.
Yeah.
Beyond a shadow of a doubt. And, when we were talking yesterday, kind of in the pre-interview, you told me about your staggering commute that you do every day. I think it was over an hour in the morning and about 2 hours in the evening. Is that accurate?
Yeah, roughly, yeah. It's been the summer, going home on a Friday from the city to Long Island. It takes forever. It could be 2.5, 3 hours.
So you're in your vehicle 33 and a half hours each day and working a full day at work. So you've got a lot on your plate, is my point. Why in the world are you so passionate in whatever limited free time you have to do all this virtual online coaching for people? I think it seems like you'd be exhausted, but no, again, you generously give of your time, which is why I wanted to highlight you and showcase you here, because that just blows my mind. Why are you so passionate about this?
Well, I just love helping. I think other people benefit, but I benefit. I get more reps looking at movement. I'm always improving, trying to improve as a coach. And it's crazy, but I eat, live, sleep CrossFit. So it definitely is something that is rewarding for myself to help people out. And especially now that I'm not routinely in front of a class, except when I sub somewhere, is that, now I still get that reward and interaction, and still working on my craft as a coach while we are homeless, so to speak.
Right. Well, I hope that's not long term. I hope that starts to turn around eventually. I guess in closing, I just want to say again, thank you so much. And any kind of things that we should have covered that we didn't, or any parting thoughts or closing thoughts from your end?
No, I'm just such a fan of the Linchpin methodology. I'm so much fan of modulating intensity, how we discuss scaling is cool, how we talk about we have these heavy days, respect heavy days. I think they're so important for people to understand that every day should not be a total full send, leave some
I,
in the bank, enjoy it. It is your fitness, modify, whenever you need to be. There is no shame in any of that. If I was a dinosaur, I'd be a Scalosaurus. I scale
amen.
everything and everything under the sun. I've got some shoulder issues. I got some knee issues.
Real life.
Yeah, I'm asthmatic. I've got a thyroid disease, Hashimoto's. Got a strong family history of heart disease. So I am fighting the fight to live as long as I can as healthy for my job, for my family. And, I'm also real excited about this CrossFit Health thing coming up and now being rebirthed again under the new CrossFit leadership, which is something I am hugely excited about. As 46 years old, my proudest PR is like 46 resting heart rate,
Nice, nice. Yeah, well, you touched on all the big stuff. That's what we're all about. Anybody can be a hero in CrossFit for a month or a year, but to do it in an intelligent way that I check back in with somebody 10 years later and they're still feeling good and hitting the workouts every day and it's still fun and they're not burnt out, that's the key right there. So, yeah, that's what we're all about. And the Linchpin community obviously fills me with pride, but it is better because you are in it. So genuinely, thank you for what you do. It is incredibly powerful. It is incredibly generous. And I'm happy that we got to highlight you and share what you do a bit. And hopefully this helps out some other people that are looking to coach some of their athletes virtually online. So I will see you in the Facebook group and stay safe out there in the streets, my friend.
Thanks, Coach. This is a pleasure, honor. Thank you so much.
All right. Talk soon, Eric.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.